Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another East Tennessee Fishing Report with Ellis Ward. How you doing, Ellis?
It's fishy here, Marvin. How are you?
That's what I figured. I took a look at your weather, and it's like mid to upper 40s, a lot of overcast days. What are you seeing?
Just that, which is a welcome change from the, high pressure systems, big blue skies, wind. I sound soft saying it, calling it cold, but the upper 20s, lower 30s. So the mid 40s with, I'm sitting here watching little raindrops, kind of want to be sleet or snowflakes. This type of weather is almost everything you want. So it's not too rough to be out. You can still feel your line and you don't have ice in your guides. But it's socked in enough, and there's enough disruption in the sky and precipitation coming in from both the lakes and the banks to sort of color up the water a little bit. Regardless of what you want to do, fish dry flies, blue wings are out in big numbers. Of course, the stuff I love doing specifically right now, throwing streamers for the lake run browns down in the lower section, down into the lake. Both are just, it is, the last couple of weeks and the next couple of weeks are the time to get out and do it.
Yeah, things will start warming up and it'll start changing, right? Bait fish will start moving around and it'll change the whole equation.
Yeah, I put a post up a couple of days ago, but it's almost like we get these windows, and call them bite windows or fish movement windows. But we get these little windows within, it's not really even seasons. It's, 2, 3, 4 week windows. And this particular one is lake run brown trout moving back down into their lake spots. And our lake is lowered by 30 feet in the winter. So, their lake spots it's all still river now. So you combine that with some good weather and getting out there with the right flows, and it can be a pretty good time.
Yeah, and it sounded like we were talking before we started recording that you're actually going to ride one of those pulses down to the lake today.
Yeah, we've been going through some. I don't mind it too much. I try not to complain about the TVA, who, they manage flood control. So we're just sort of a secondary, but we're getting like 4-hour pulses, which is, you can fish a good 6 to 8 hours on a 4-hour pulse, when you're moving. So if you're fishing the lower segment, it's about 5.5 hours for the 9 a.m. to get down to the lower end of the Watauga. And you put in, you'll be catching it around 1, and you can ride that out till dark.
Yeah, it works out just right for the time of year. And had a kind of a good related question from Connor, and he wanted to get your thoughts on, what do big fish do in low water, and can you target them or do you just have to wait till the water's up?
Sure. A couple different directions we can take on this. There are, I would say, I'm going to way oversimplify this and just say there are 2 types of big fish that we're going to be talking about. One would be the ones that are going to sit in lanes and eat bugs, and those are going to be in the bigger pools. And generally, this is like any spring creek or freestone that you'd be on. Tailwaters are going to behave the same way. They're going to be in the really deep pools that in, clear water provides protection for them. And largely speaking, they're not going to eat. When there's, we have a lot of hours in the dark these days and high water. So, those holding areas are going to be for protection versus for ambushing. You can target them, doing the size 26, size 28, dropping down on 10 feet of 7X, trying to get right in their face. A lot of big pools like that in lower South Holston. The other type would be, I'm guessing this is what he's talking about, the big fish that are the, predatory, looking for ambush spots. And, one of the things that I have seen is they operate, or they hold like bass. And the reason I compare them to bass is that they sit in, up, under, and in weed beds. So the, hydrilla and largemouth fishing, where you're trying to, pound a half-ounce piece of lead through with a soft plastic. Honestly, sort of the same layout. We have big, thick weed beds, and, in some of these big flats, the best way to target them, I have seen, is to put something big and loud right in their face and make it move as fast as you can. So the shortcut to that is getting a big changer right on top of a weed bed, dipping your rod tip 4 or 5 guides in, and burning it back 2 hands. It can be tough, especially in clear water and big skies, to make them eat. But if you do that enough, if you treat fishing big, 20, mid-20s to that 30-inch mark, if you treat fishing those trout like you would treat fishing for muskie, you'll start seeing more of those big fish. And you might not see any that day, but you go in with that mindset and target those big weed beds in the flats. It'll start to surprise you.
Yeah, and I assume you're probably hitting those with like hybrid and polar changers.
Yeah, I've been getting pretty creative with some of Blaine's platforms, but my current favorites are kind of changing up materials for the support system. But have a couple now using Greg Senio's laser dub as the support with either feathers. I have one. I've made one of the Krelex changers, the Chuck Diesels, as I sort of jokingly called them, with the laser dub support. So, yeah, I mean, again, you read that guy's book, and you start to get the tools to get creative, and it's those 6 to 9 inch. Like, you don't need to go crazy, but those 6 to 9 inch ones, and striking the balance of getting something castable and also big with the right buoyancy it can be tough, but that's part of the fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, we love questions on the articulate fly. You can email them to us. You can DM us on social media. And if we use your question, I will send you some articulate fly swag and enter you in a drawing for 2 days on the boat with Ellis and 1 night at the Watauga River Lodge. So folks, get your questions in. And Ellis, before I let you go, you want to update us on, I know Bucktail hasn't been as productive this year as it has in the past, but if you got any new stuff there, and just how folks can find you and get out and fish with you.
Sure. Yeah, I feel like for the last couple of times I've said I'm going to be updating Bucktail. It's been too fishy here, so I've been out on the water, and thankfully I've had some trips rolling in kind of last minute. So if you are in need of tails, shoot me a message. I'm going to upload the site, but the time frame on that is TBD. So Instagram is now Ellis Ward Guides, which is big news. But yeah, same stuff coming from there. Message me there on Flyzotics, and as always, the best way to connect with me is text, call, leave a message, etc. on my phone at 513-543-0019.
Well, there you go. Well, folks, you owe it to yourself to get out there and catch a few. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Ellis.
Appreciate it, Marv.